The majority of us live our lives based on how society has taught us to be. There was a study that I heard, and I can't find it right now for the life of me, but it said something about how men were put in a room with 10 more average women, and they had to put them in order of who they thought was the hottest woman in the group. So they did from 1 to 10, kind of in order of who the hottest woman is. So let's say number 1 was the hottest woman. They then took that number 1 woman and put her in a room with 9 other women that are deemed societally better looking than her, or even better looking than the previous group. They put the woman that they put at the top of the list, they put her at the bottom of the list this time round as the person that they would least want to date, essentially. It just shows how influenced people are. If they're in a room where they're basically around people who they deem better looking, they will set their standards higher. It's kind of like when you're on social media and all of a sudden there's all these edited people, these filters, there's more access to more people. People all of a sudden make other people disposable based on how hot they think they should be or how filtered they think they should be. Society's just really changed based on our environment as opposed to what we truly feel, think and believe in our minds. I feel like, in a way, what I said earlier about people basing what they like and what they want on their environment and what society deems as great and not great, in a way it's really, really sad, but in a way it should make you seek refuge in knowing that the way you are judged or the way that you are seen is based on people's brainwashing and not on reality. You get to decide who you are, what your worth is, how people should value you, how you should value yourself, because people are so easily influenced and they are so gullible, and it's all based on their environment and society and not based on you, your worth, or who you are as a human being. I have so many examples for you guys. Okay, I'm born and bred in central London, one of the most culturally diverse cities in the world. I'm so used to seeing people of different shapes and colours and sizes and backgrounds and wants and needs and life decisions and all the things that moving to the Middle East, which is where I live now, I kind of live in different places, I have noticed the contrast of how people's minds are. When I go to Los Angeles, I feel like I have personally felt that I have been undervalued when I've been to Los Angeles. I think that there is a certain dynamic out there where they like a certain aesthetic of person, a certain way that people act, and a certain race of people, etc., etc. I can delve into that on another video, because this isn't a video about race or discrimination. It's kind of a general video about how society is completely brainwashed, in my opinion. Then I go to the Middle East, where I live now, and I notice there's so many different things. So for example, I've always wanted to do modeling in the UK, and I don't feel like I was ever offered that. Measurement wise, I've always been model measurements. I mean, just about tall enough, 5'8", always been like very petite and long and lanky, and never been able to kind of properly break into the modeling industry other than commercial modeling. But I always wanted to do fashion, especially as a fashion graduate. I always kind of thought it'd be super cool to do fashion modeling, which yes, I did a little bit, but not to the extent that I wanted. Now moving to the Middle East, although I still believe that they prefer Western aesthetics, I noticed that they have a market for me. So immediately already, like, even though I'm older now, I'm getting these doors opened. So a lot of the way we live our life, a lot of the way that people treat us, a lot of the ways that we think about ourselves is sometimes literally based on the country we live in. I mean, imagine where you would be if you lived in a country that appreciated you more. I noticed the most compliments I get is probably from like Chinese people and stuff. I'm not sure why, but I've noticed that in my past and, you know, with my Chinese friends and everything. So that's an interesting thought that I always had. To conclude this section, always remember that people, the way that they treat you is based on what their society and their environment has taught them and not based on reality or who you actually are. I remember a while back, my ex-boyfriend gave me tickets to the Pink concert. So random. I'm not into Pink. I'm more like a rock and roll gal, but he works in the music industry and he had these random tickets to the Pink concert in London. And we went there and we saw the queue was at least an hour long, and I was like, I didn't even want to come here. Like, from the standpoint of, I wouldn't have picked to come here, therefore I'm not going to queue for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. So I said to my friend, let's walk through the VIP entrance. Let's just charge through, there's no queue there. And my friend freaked out and she was like, Hiba, no, that we don't have tickets for that. And I was like, I don't care, let's go, we're going. So we go through the VIP entrance, and when we get approached and they realize that we don't have the VIP tickets, we just acted dumb. I just acted dumb. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was going the right way. I really apologize. And then they literally guided us to the correct section, but inside the building. So instead of copying everyone else and queuing in the queue that we were supposed to, we went through the VIP section, which resulted in us skipping at least an hour queue to the concert and being able to go get a drink, go get a snack, and go wait for the show to start. This is another perfect example of not following the crowd or getting influenced by other people in your decision making, and you'll have a higher quality of life if you don't do that. I had a really interesting conversation with a guy the other day, and he was saying how he gets blocked from making music because he has some sort of blockages in him which just self-sabotaging and stop him from producing music, even though he's a great singer and a great musician. And then our conversation delved onto how a lot of the famous people that he knows aren't even that talented, which kind of makes sense. I'm sure we all know these people that are just really successful, kind of got their name out there, making money, etc., etc. But what they're doing isn't mind-blowing, isn't some sort of kind of revolutionary thing. But for somehow, because they're so confident in themselves and they're not self-sabotaging and they have consistency, that is how they achieve results. That same situation can happen to us, can happen to me, it can happen to you. As long as you get to a place where you just own who you are and you're consistent, then you can be that fake it till you make it person, although you're kind of not faking it, you're just kind of owning whatever God or the universe or whatever you believe in has given to you. It's much easier said than done, and I know I need to do some more in-depth videos on self-confidence and self-growth, but I hope this video is helping give you a bit more confidence and being able to taking actions and small steps towards that. Just having a sip of this protein smoothie, it's so nice. They're called Supernova Living in the UK, and they said that this protein powder helps like lift your energy when you have that afternoon dip. And I feel like they're right, because I'm getting so much energy for this video, and this isn't sponsored. I just really like them, and I like the brand, and I like the product. All right, guys, so next up on my list, because I am so organized and I typed it all out. So branching off of what I just said about people faking it till they make it, I don't really like that saying, to be honest, but for lack of a better word in this moment, I'm just gonna say that. If you think about models, back in my day, the type of models that people liked was the really, really, really skinny, emaciated Kate Moss types. Then all of a sudden the trends became your curvy girls, like more like, you know, the Kim Kardashian types in this day and age. People are getting the BBLs, etc. Then you have the trend of big bushy eyebrows. All of a sudden that's really hot and attractive. And then there's the trend of the eyebrows cut off and the cat eyes. And then there's a trend of just being a nepo baby and just simply being a beautiful model because your family are rich and famous. I mean, it's just, the list goes on. It's just trend after trend after trend, and they never last. I'm reading this new book by Stephen Bartlett, and it's something that I've always thought about, but he kind of reaffirmed it when I was reading his book. I'll put the little image of the book here. And he was talking about how there was a guy that he knows who saw a man running by his house. The man running stops, and then he's like being a bit of a weirdo, and he's talking about aliens and, what was he talking about? Robots and aliens and blah, 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 whatever. I'm just really cutting it short. And it turns out that this sweaty runner man who was talking about aliens and robots, etc., was Elon Musk. If that was a normal stranger, you would think they were a complete weirdo, but because it was Elon Musk, all of a sudden it's normal and it's okay and it's inspirational and it's really cool. That is another example of how influenced people are. So easily influenced. And I'm sorry to get a bit deep here, but sometimes I think about how, like Jesus, if Jesus was here today, I feel like he would have been not looked at in a good way. And I feel like he would have been seen as like a cult leader or something like that. I don't feel like if Jesus did everything that he did back in the day, if he did that right here, right now, maybe started his Instagram, his TikTok, that people would fully buy into it and not see it as a cult. Because how else would you see it this day and age? I feel like people are not valued and trusted in that way as they were back in the day, which is another example of how we are influenced based on the century we're in, the environments we're in, the external influences, etc., etc. This is a really good one I want to talk about, guys. Okay, so we have got so many trends coming in and out all of the time. One trend is the deep breathing, the breath work. Another trend is the cold showers. Another one is motivational videos. Another one is entrepreneurship. There's always tidbits of all these different things that you should be doing. Although a lot of these things can be revolutionary and change your life, we have to adapt our lives based on what is best suited to us. Our life is like a soup. My soup might be like a vegan pea soup. Yours might be a chickeny soup. We have different ingredients to our soups. And I remember that when I used to live next to like a professional running track, really close to me, like 30 seconds from my front door, like walk outside my front door, walk into the park, I got the running track. And people used to always say to me, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. You can just go running on this professional running track and be fit and healthy and utilize your resources. And so I used to feel immense guilt when I didn't use this running track. So I decided to set a goal of running every single morning for 10 to 30 minutes based on how much I could do, come rain or shine, on this running track, because other people were telling me how lucky I was. And I ended up getting so sick and so depressed. Exercise is supposed to make you happy, and it didn't make me happy. It made me really overwhelmed and really low mood because I was putting so much pressure on myself and then hating on myself when I couldn't achieve those goals. What happened, which was revolutionary in my life, is I started shifting in mindset and saying, okay, what does Hiba like? What do I like? So I started doing like one hot yoga class. And I used to stay away from hot yoga because I was like, no, I'm gonna pass out. I did this like hot yoga trial month and it was like really affordable, and I was like, I'm just gonna try it. And my body got used to the heat after a few weeks, and I'm obsessed with hot yoga now. But that won't work for some people in the same way that cold showers won't work for some people. During, the 2 years that we were all in lockdown, I did cold showers and Wim Hof breath work. And it made me feel absolutely awful. As like a grown woman in her 30s, I know what makes me feel good and I know what makes me feel bad at this point to a certain extent. Obviously, I'm still doing trial and error every single day of my life, and I will continue to do so for the rest of my life. But I remember feeling so down, and I only started feeling happier when I stopped doing the breath work and the cold showers and shifted towards what made me feel happier, like meditation, reading books, long walks, and whatever it was that resonated with me and my body. Not to say that I wouldn't do cold showers in the future, but oh my gosh, you know how much easier it is to do a cold shower or a plunge in the Middle East, in the middle of the desert, than London? Imagine if you lived in a colder place than London and someone's there really sad and depressed that they're not doing the cold plunge that this influencer in LA is doing. The weather is different, and I know Wim Hof lives in the ice or whatever, but everyone's different. He's a very, very specific human being. Just like Elon Musk is a very specific human being. Doesn't mean we have to be like them. We can be our own really amazing, interesting, diverse people in our own ways. In the same way that not every successful person is doing a cold plunge, not every successful person is doing breath work, not every successful person is meditating. Has to work with how you feel and what resonates with you, and how well it integrates into your life and how it makes you feel in the long run. Ooh, here's a bit of a spicy, controversial one. Manifestation is for privileged people, and it's a friggin' trend, and it's gonna pass. So my whole businesses have been about manifestation. I mean, even one of my paintings on here has gone missing. One of my paintings here even says manifestation, and that is such one of the things about the Middle East is realizing that air conditioning's on and it's background sound, and I don't know how to turn this off. I can't believe I filmed most of this video with that air conditioning on. It's going to be so much background sound, but I'm just going to keep going. So my whole business was to do with manifestation. I have so many videos from the past that are to do with manifestation. But you know what I dislike most about this manifestation trend, the books that are coming out, the YouTube videos? A lot of these people are super, super, super privileged people who already started from a higher platform and worked their way up. I really don't feel like a child, God forbid, born with illnesses or in a war zone or stuck in famine right now is going to be able to implement the same manifestation steps and techniques to get to where everyone else is getting to, where it's like, imagine your dream home, imagine your dream lifestyle, imagine your dream body, imagine your fitness. You think someone cares about their fitness when they're trying to survive, when they're trying to take like a boat out of like their war-torn country? There has to come a limit to this manifestation talk. It has to be done in a very careful way and not done as a be-all end-all way that a lot of people online make it out to be. They make it out to be, these are the steps that you need to manifest, and if you don't do it, then you're manifesting wrong, because everyone can manifest and everyone has it in them. No, loads of people have no clue about manifestation, and a lot of people who have manifested things have had goals and had consistency and worked, because I believe in luck, but I only believe in luck through action. You're not going to get your YouTube viewers, you're not going to get your modeling career, you're not going to become a dentist, a doctor, travel the world, whatever it is you want to do, through just lying in your bed and watching Netflix. Maybe you can be like a Netflix commentary YouTuber, but there's kind of like a limited window of what you can achieve from lying in your bed and watching Netflix. So there has to come a point where we just follow ourselves. We follow what works with us. We follow what we feel like creates improvements in our life, and then in turn creates manifestation, which is essentially you putting yourself out there, trying to better yourself every day, having healthy goals, working hard, being consistent, and then seeing results. Ta-da! Manifestation. We need to do a whole video on that one though, let's be honest. So I feel like this video is getting quite long, so I'm going to end it quite soon. So what I'm going to say to you guys is, how can you go about implementing things in a healthy way in your life? I'm learning every day. I'm not saying that I live the healthiest life. I'm not saying I live the best life. But what I can definitely say is I try daily to open my mind up to different perspectives, different ways of going about things. Even like when I think about career-wise, just because everyone has a CV and has to apply for jobs doesn't mean you can't like fight for like an unconventional route. Like post those YouTube videos, start that business, invest that money, stop partying with your friends and use the money from partying with your friends to pay for a course to learn something new. What is it that you can do that can shake things up and change your life in the next 6 months to a year that resonates with you, even if it's baby steps? Maybe your baby step for tomorrow is to go on a longer walk in the morning, to sign up to a gym, to eat that one healthier meal, to take that one longer walk and like deep breathing and getting away from your phone. Whatever it is, what is that one step you can do today that can eventually compound into all of these different built up daily, slowly great habits? Get to a place where you tap into your instincts. I did this online course about this, something called the Something of Happiness. It was a Harvard course that loads of people did. And it did say something about your instinct lying to you. I think there's a fine line between trusting your instinct and kind of educating yourself. It's kind of like a play between the two, and I don't see it as so black and white. I see that our instinct is what creates our survival. It's what we used back in the caveman days or whatever. But I also see that brain and logic and calculated risks can also get you somewhere. So it's about balancing the two and kind of taking action every day and doing trial and error and seeing what works and leveraging off of that. And then what doesn't work, just not doing that anymore, or kind of changing it or adapting it and then getting that feedback loop and learning again. So for example, if I post loads of YouTube videos and I want to grow my YouTube, maybe posting more of the videos that get more views or that get more comments so that people say they like, and doing less of what doesn't get interest, essentially, which is kind of like an obvious thing for me to say, but it works in all aspects of life. Other ways to make decisions for yourself and to think outside of the box and not the way that society has brainwashed you is to take lots of breaks from the habits that you have. So let's say there's an influencer that you find so interesting and so intellectual, and you agree with everything that they say, and you listen to their videos every day or whatever. Take a break from them. Sometimes I take a month break from the people I really like, because you don't want all of a sudden your brain to mold into how they think, even if the way they think is really inspiring and interesting. So that's one tip. And just generally don't overindulge in one thing. Don't overindulge in weightlifting. Don't overindulge in yoga. Unless you have an actual reason why you're doing that, whether it's like you're a teacher or you're learning or you're competing. It's about sometimes breaking habits in order for your mind to not get in that comfort cycle and that comfort loop. What can you do to shock your system every now and again? What can you learn that's new every day? Learn one little new thing every day. All of these little practices help increase confidence, help you with your decision making, help you learn about what routes to take in your life, and ultimately make you a happier, more well-rounded, less influenced human being. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video. Let me know what you think. It's a slightly longer video than what I do. Let me know in the comments what you think, if it helped you, and what else you would like me to talk about. Mwah. Sending you love, light, and good vibes.